Hi, my name's Ananya, and this is my presentation on stem cells. So what are stem cells? The basic definition of stem cells are cells which can be developed to perform specialized functions. So this picture in the corner shows how stem cells can be developed into all these different types of specialized cells, including liver cells, blood cells, cardiac cells, and nerve cells. The main function of stem cells is to serve as a repair system for the body by regenerating and replace damaged cells. There's two main types of stem cells. There's embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. So first, embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells, as indicated by the name, come from embryos that are 3 to 5 days old. At this stage, these embryos are called blastocysts, and they're pretty small, so they only have about like 150 cells. Embryonic stem cells fall into a category called pluripotent stem cells, which means that they can either like divide into more stem cells and go into unlimited growth, or they can specialize into any type of cell in the body. Um, these embryonic stem cells are used to regenerate or repair diseased tissue and organs in a process called stem cell therapy, which I will be talking more about later. So this picture shows like the pathway of like a human embryonic stem cell. So it starts in the blastocyst embryo, and the inner cell mass of the embryo becomes an embryonic stem cell, which can then either divide and go into unlimited growth, or it can differentiate into a specialized type of cell. However, there's been a lot of controversy about embryonic stem cells and the research going on about this because obviously they're extracted from human embryos, and this raised a lot of controversy about how ethical this research was. So they had to implement new guidelines which only allow embryos from in vitro fertilization clinics to be used for this research, and that too, those embryos are only allowed to be used when the embryo is not implanted, so when it's not used. However, this was kind of problematic for researchers because this limited like how many embryos they could use for the research since there wasn't that many like that they could get from the in vitro fertilization clinics. So they started looking for like new ways in which they could get embryos for research. So then they came up with this thing called induced pluripotent stem cells. So this is basically where they transform regular cells into embryonic stem cells using genetic programming. So this picture in the corner shows how like they get adult stem cells from an individual, and then they introduce reprogramming factors which make it into induced pluripotent stem cells. And then these stem cells differentiate into specialized cells, which can be used for disease modeling, drug development, or drug toxicity tests, gene therapy, and cell-based therapy. However, there's not enough research done like on this type of stem cells to know if this is safe or not yet. There was one successful study in which they reprogrammed connective tissue cells into functional heart cells, and then these new heart cells were then injected into animals with heart failure, and these animals did have improved heart function and survival time. However, this one study is not enough to know if this is like safe or not yet. So the second type is adult stem cells, and these are found in small numbers in most adult tissues. However, there's like a couple reasons why they're less used than embryonic stem cells. So first of all, they're more likely to contain abnormalities than embryonic stem cells. And the second reason, or at least what was believed for a long time, was that adult stem cells have a limited ability to create various cells when compared to embryonic stem cells. So like people thought that adult bone marrow stem cells could only create blood cells. However, new research was conducted recently that shows that adult stem cells can actually create various types of cells. So bone marrow stem cells, adult bone marrow stem cells can actually create heart muscle cells and other types of specialized cells. So now stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy is also known as regenerative medicine. And basically how it works is researchers grow stem cells in a lab, and then they specialize these cells into the specific types of cells that they need, whether that's like heart muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells, or whatever they need. And then these specialized cells are implanted into a person, depending on like what issue the person has. So like if someone had heart disease, they would be injected with heart muscle cells. And then these new stem cells go and repair the defective tissue or organ. So one form of stem cell therapy that has been successful is bone marrow transplants, and these were used to replace cells damaged by chemotherapy or disease. This diagram in the corner shows like all the potential uses of stem cells, and as you can see, there's a lot of possible like things that stem cells could be used as treatments for, which is why there's like so much interest and research going on in this field.